I guess I'm like any other, political figure. Everybody wants to be loved.
Welcome back to Hardball. That was President Bush from this morning's news conference. Karen Hanratty is a former spokesman for Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Ed Schultz is a radio talk show host, and both of you watched the president's press conference this morning. So I'm going to drop the starters flag right here.
I don't even need an engine.
Delusional or not delusional? You tell me. You start.
I thought the timing was interesting. Coming on the heels of, you've got two very important Republican senators, Lugar and Domenici, who are starting to break from the White House. I thought the timing of the press conference was really important. I think it gave a little bit of relief to a few of these Republican senators who are saying, you've got to give us something if you want us to continue to support you, at least now through September.
Mike, he's in trouble with the American people. He goes on the stump in Cleveland, talks about jobs, health care, and things that he can't do anything about right now because his domestic agenda is completely dead. Then he comes out and holds a press conference today. I thought the president did exactly what he does the best. It was almost like being on the stump. He was aggressive. He was very determined, but it doesn't sell anymore. There's polls out there that say that 46% of registered voters want this man impeached. The Democrats are behind the curve. They need to get with the American people and get aggressive.
So I asked Senator Durbin this in the last segment, and you're listening to the public each and every day. And you're listening to the public, in a sense, each and every day. Smaller portion, people on the bus or whatever. But do you think people are actually listening to this president? Are they hearing him?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a tired act. It's an old act. It's the same old stuff. He's basically trying to buy some time until September 15th. But I said this back in January. This isn't the only surge. There'll be more. Nothing will change. And for the Democrats to sit around and wait to get 60 votes and then they're going to have to get 67 because this guy isn't going to change.
Karen, let me ask you a question. The president this morning in the press conference basically said, paraphrasing now, we've got to let the generals decide this. The generals are going to come back. General Petraeus is going to come back. He's going to decide it. We've got to listen to the generals. We can't let Congress run this war. And yet, General Shinseki was, Army Chief of Staff. He said several years ago, you need 500,000 soldiers. He didn't listen to him. I mean, it doesn't play well.
I think politically what will be interesting to watch is in September when Petraeus goes before Congress and testifies. This is a man who was overwhelmingly, unanimously endorsed by the U.S. Senate. When he goes before them, he has a lot of credibility. Certainly here in Washington, he has a lot of credibility, and within the media. When he goes before the U.S. Senate, and you've got whether it's Barbara Boxer or Dick Durbin, and they're questioning his authority, and they're questioning what he's seen on the ground, I think that's when the politics really fires up. And I agree with Ed that to the extent that
told you I didn't need an engine.
What the president is saying today, which is, look, when he goes out and says, if I didn't think we had a chance of succeeding, I wouldn't put troops in harm's way. I think that it's a matter. I think that does just wash over people's ears right now. The president's got to go out, or someone, maybe it's John McCain or Joe Lieberman, has to go out and make the case for how is this war winnable. You can't just say, well, it's winnable because we've got 8 out of 18. You've got to explain how.
Karen, there are 7 retired generals that have been there, done that have come home and said this isn't going to work. It's a failed policy, failed strategy. We need to change. John Murtha was talking redeployment 2 years ago. Now the American people, there's an undercurrent that impeachment proceedings should start. That's serious, Mike. Half the American people are there. The Beltway's not listening to what the heartland is saying right now. Go ask John McCain how he's doing in Iowa. He's tagged his wagon to this war policy, and it's failed us across the board for him. So
there's also something going on. You mentioned the Beltway having, no matter how you feel about this war, there's something that verges in the obscene about the politics of the war being played out in Washington while all these funerals are being conducted across the country.
But I'll tell you what also is, I think, obscene to people is the idea that you would conduct a war based on polls versus principles.
American people
you might not agree with the president's principles, but the idea of running a war based on polls.
The American people have to matter, and he has been totally arrogant to their feelings.
Ed Hanratty, Karen Schultz, thanks very much. Next, White House Press Secretary Tony Snow. Can President